Hey, look at that. It's 9 p.m. on the East Coast of America, and live from the WACA studios, this is Good Night. First in the news tonight, Tesla founder and billionaire eccentric Elon Musk had a press briefing about the progress being made on the SpaceX program. Having launched and returned several rockets over the years, Musk held a conference to explain that the day where people can safely and easily travel to Mars, the original goal of SpaceX, is coming very soon. He showed off his new spaceship titled Starship and explained that it could house 100 interplanetary travelers and has made of partly stainless steel. One of the coolest parts about SpaceX rockets is the reusability of some of the shells, and Musk also intends to use the rockets to fly between cities here on Earth. He'll have to be quick, though, because the market is getting clogged with NASA, Trump's Space Force, and Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin. It looks to be a new age space race between governments and billionaire philanthropists. If we're taking bets, my money's on Elon, but you just never know. Bezos could cut his workers' pay even more, and it could get done next year. It's really a toss-up. Now, in our weekly Disney news update, because Disney controls the entertainment news cycle, Sony and Marvel have officially kissed and made up. The drama of the week a couple weeks ago was Spider-Man's Marvel contract running out, and the rights going back to Sony, who controls the character. Marvel was basically renting Peter Parker for their movies and making lots of money for it. But his lease ran out, so Marvel had to negotiate on new terms. It was reported that neither billion-dollar company wanted to make even more money, so they never reached a deal. But just last week, they made up and decided to make lots of money together. So Spider-Man's back in the MCU, Sony gets to keep its dumb spin-off movies with Eminem soundtracks, and both companies are still encroaching on total media control. A recent estimate put Disney at almost 30% ownership of the current media landscape and asked Sony for a 50-50 split in exchange for Spider-Man, but I'm sure Sony is the bad guy here. Now, in crazy weather news, Montana is in a state of emergency after a gigantic snowstorm threw over 4 feet of snow at the state over the weekend, in addition to winds over 30 miles per hour coming off the Rocky Mountains. This weekend, a 2-day record was almost set, as the 20-inch total over Saturday and Sunday is the second highest total ever to be reached in the state. It was also recorded in September, which is why everybody is making even a bigger deal out of this. It's like you have to be crazy to live in Montana during the winter, but I would venture to say it's probably a pretty nice place to live most other seasons. But the poor people who were trying to enjoy a Montana fall just got duped. That's climate change, folks. And speaking of climate change, it's been in the news a lot recently with the climate strikes and UN speeches and such. It can feel a little like doomsday and can get kind of exhausting, let alone tough to really visualize what climate change is doing to our planet, because it's such a big problem. But a recent UN report has been released, and it's terrifying. It puts climate change into such a quantifiable evil. How did they do this? Well, apparently, if the sea levels continue to rise, as they have been, according to the newest UN report, it would make 60 million people in the United States unable to flush their toilets due to the use of septic systems, especially on coastal cities. If that wasn't enough, there's also an increased risk of contamination with the sea level rising. So there you have it. If you weren't, for whatever reason, taking climate change seriously before, here's your reason. Can you imagine not being able to flush your toilet as the rising sea levels come up in the Boston Harbor? But that's what we call a double whammy of ecological catastrophe. In all seriousness, though, folks, the UN report is super important and contains a lot of vital information on how climate change is affecting the Earth. That's going to do it for the news this week. Stay tuned. Lucy Burdge, This Week in Music History, and for some bits from our crew celebrating National Coffee Day. And don't go anywhere, because we have an interview with sports reporter Andrew Roberts, in addition to an interview with David and Stacy from Vape Daddy to discuss the recent statewide vaping ban. But before we go to commercial, you might have noticed this dog in one of our commercials. He was even in one of our episodes early in our run. His name is Coda, but unfortunately he passed away. So we here at Good Night want to take this opportunity to honor Coda before we go to commercial. Rest in peace, Coda. You'll be missed.
This is Lucy Burdge with Good Nights This Week in Music History. We begin in 1969 when Creedence Clearwater Revival started a 4-week run at #1 on the US singles chart with Green River. In 1970, Jimi Hendrix was buried in Seattle. Also in 1970, Janis Joplin was found dead at the Landmark Hotel Hollywood after an accidental heroin overdose. In 1976, Jerry Lee Lewis was celebrating his birthday and accidentally shot his bass player, Norman Owens, in the chest. Owens survived, but then he sued Jerry Lee Lewis. In 1977, the body of Elvis Presley was moved from the cemetery where he was buried to Graceland after an unsuccessful attempt was made to steal the coffin. In 1980, Queen started a 3-week run at #1 on the US singles chart with Another One Bites the Dust. In 1984, Prince and the Revolution started a 2-week run at #1 on the US singles chart with Let's Go Crazy. In 1992, Sinead O'Connor ripped up a photograph of Pope John Paul II on SNL, live TV, as a protest over sexual abuse in the Roman Catholic Church. NBC was fined $2.5 million by the FCC for that. And in 1996, a Pearl Jam show in Hartford, Connecticut, ended in a riot when mass fighting broke out among the crowd of over 30,000 people. This has been Lucy Burdge with Good Nights This Week in Music History. Be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Lucille Burdge for both.
So I've just been informed that yesterday, as of the time of filming this, was National Coffee Day. Is that true, Todd?
It was. To anybody out there who's a coffee drinker, you know that we can't survive without this stuff.
Right, so I hear. I am a Red Bull drinker. I'm an energy drink drinker. I hate coffee with a burning, undying passion of 1,000 suns. So what are we doing today, Todd?
So we're going to taste test different coffees from around our area. Anything from like instant coffee to gas station coffee and, higher end chains.
Yeah.
So
it's going to be great.
Yeah, fun stuff going on.
Well, let's get to it.
All right, so we've got our 5 different cups of coffee here. The Speedway, I'm not sure what to say other than it was there. It's a gas station coffee, so we'll see how that goes. A Mick Cafe, which is supposed to be made with 100% Arabica beans. A Dunkin' Coffee, which I don't know what it's made with, but we'll see. Everybody loves it. Black Rifle Coffee, which is actually from a nice little company where about 50% of the profits go to veterans of law enforcement or, military veterans. So that's kind of a nice little bonus. And then the last one is a Starbucks instant coffee. I need to get nice and close for that. Phantom Gourmet style. So let's get down to it. All right, Connor, in front of you, you have 5 different coffees. They have been randomized, so you don't know which is which. You probably don't care because you are the one that doesn't like coffee.
I hate coffee so much.
So at the bottom of each cup is which one it is. So we'll discover at the end which one, and for the viewers at home, there will be a graphic below each of the cups.
Ugh.
Connor being a champ, though.
Oh, it's not terrible. That one's awful. That one just tastes like water. Tastes like shitty water. That one's not so bad, actually.
Your second favorite, and your favorite was McDonald's coffee. You like McDonald's coffee the most out of all of them.
Oh God, I've learned something about myself that I never thought before. I'll see you in the bathroom. All right, Todd.
I'm gonna go
Go for it, my guy.
hat backwards. That one's pretty good.
Yeah.
That one's strong,
Yeah.
but good. Okay. That one's a no.
No bueno on that one.
No bueno on that one. That one was alright. I could just tell right away that was so watery, the Speedway one.
Yeah.
That was just, oh,
Yeah.
no. That was gross. That was bad. That was by far the worst.
Number 1. Okay. Not bad. Not so good. I could drink that. A little watered down. Well, number 1 I think is the best. Number 2 is the worst, I think.